Hello and welcome to Keep Calm for Moms, where we talk about what it means to parent the next generation with grace and ease. I am Dr. Pamela Ellis, the education doctor, and I am just thrilled to see you here today and thrilled to talk with my guest that's going to be here today. So today, I want to, if this is your first time joining, I just want to give you a little bit of background about the show and what I do. And so my firm works with schools and employers on educational services. And one of our signature offerings is college readiness services. And our proprietary framework is called Keep Calm. The CALM stands for College and Accelerated Leadership Methodology. And there are 5 pillars of our work. It's academic, social, financial, vocational, and cultural. And so all of those different elements you will hear as we talk during the show. And for today's show, it's part of our Boss Mom series, where I get to talk to all of these amazing moms about how they manage their professional lives and home. And so I can't wait to bring up to the stage today my guest, Jennifer Montague. So Jennifer, come on up here with those big titles.
Hello, Dr. Pamela. How are you? You've got some big titles too, lady.
Yes, thank you, Jennifer. It is so good to talk with you, especially to talk in this way, because I talk with moms all the time in terms of just, kind of how they're, managing it all. And when I see you, it's just like, oh my goodness, she's doing it all. But I don't know. You tell me.
Well, so here's the deal. I think the fallacy of, I think having it all is a fallacy. Or I think you can have it all, but you can have it all at different times in your life.
Right.
And the expression, it takes a village to raise a child, that is, absolutely positively true. And so I have a lot of help. my mom, we have structured, my husband and I have structured our life. My mother is, is helping us raise our children, right? Literally she, when I got pregnant with my daughter, Ariel, who is now 18, we were living in Oak Park, and my mom was a school teacher and she had retired. And Reg and I were trying to figure out, like, do we take the baby to daycare? Do we hire a babysitter? Do we hire a nanny? And my mom was like, well, I've been off for a year. I'll watch the baby. She says, but I'm not driving out to Oak Park every day. You need to come to the city, drop the baby off, and you have to pay me. And I was like, okay. And at the same time, though, Dr. Pamela, a flat in my parents' building became open. The guy who had lived on where Reg and I now live foreclosed on it. And Reg and I were like, well, we bought in the building. So we live in the same building that my parents are in. My parents are on the 3rd floor. My husband and I are on the 1st floor. My mom comes downstairs and makes breakfast and, makes the kids lunch and takes them to school and runs them to their activities. And even when we lived in London for 4 years, she came to London with us.
Wow.
To help out. So I realize that I am blessed in that situation. And I'm also blessed in helping them too, right? My parents have some health challenges. So my mom's actually just is battling breast cancer, just had a vasectomy. So we're doing that on both sides, but that's how I think work-life balance has really been able to work out for the Montague family, right? In that we've been able to rely on, and then up until Reg's mom passed last year, but Reg's mom was living in New York. We moved her to Chicago. So she lived literally around the corner from us. So we had that close family connection, and that worked for us. It doesn't work for some people. Right. But for that, it helped Reg and I be able to spend time together, to have date night.
I know that is real.
You need all of that. And also, like, as a working mom, you can't be the one and also let me be clear, I hire a housekeeper who comes once a week. So, because as a working mom, if you see women trying to cook, clean, pay attention to their kids' grades, know all their kids' teacher, keep up with all their extracurricular activities, make sure they're doing their grades, getting into college, you know, active in church, you're holding down a job, you're trying to keep your relationship alive. Like
oh my goodness, you're tiring me out.
Right. That's right. And I'm saying you can't do that. Like they're used to, remember that song? You'll remember because you're from the 80s. Remember that song, I'm Not Your Superwoman?
Oh yeah, Karen White. I love that song.
Right. And so my grandmother used to have an expression. She was like, don't start anything you can't keep up. And I was like, I am never going to try to be, I'm never going to try to be that superwoman. I'm going to get help from everybody. Yeah. So that's just, and so that's why I think that having it all is a fallacy. Like you need to rely on a variety of people in order to be able to do it well. That is so true. That is so true. And I mean, we just kind of jumped right into the conversation. I'm sorry.
But, I mean, okay, so you've told us about your daughter who's 19, and you also have
a son who is 16.
Yeah. Yes. Now, what's that been like in terms of, you know, having your oldest go away to college, and especially now in this last year with everything? So how has that been for you?
Yeah. So I would say, I mean, 2020 was just hard all the way around. And I would say, especially with my daughter, my kids are very different people. So William is very, you know, not much bothers him. He's an introvert. He's fine going to remote schooling. He's fine just talking to his friends, playing video games or on the phone. He literally, it didn't affect him emotionally, really. The fact that they were out and remote, he was totally fine with it. And excelled, actually. I mean, got great grades, but also doing well emotionally.
Yeah.
Ariel, on the other hand, it was much harder for her. She's much more of an extrovert. She gets power and engagement from being with other people. And she also lost, she was supposed to be in a debutante ball. She lost that. She lost going to prom. She lost sort of the formal graduation. And it was sad. It was a hard period for her. So that just has been a hard, you know, so parenting in that environment, just trying to make sure that your kids are okay emotionally, make sure that they have, you know, things to do. She had graduated, and then she was supposed to be Brown said, oh, we're going to have you start school in September. And then 2 weeks beforehand, because of COVID cases, they were like, oh, psych, we are not, you can't come to campus until January. So then we had to, I mean, literally we were all like, okay, so what is she going to do? So thank God she found a really great job. She was tutoring, she was like doing like a tutor pod of a bunch of first grade girls. And so that was, you know, wonderful for her, but it was just a hard it was a hard year to sort of figure out how to be resilient and learn to do all those transitions.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we've all working from home too. This is I know you're in what room is that in your house? Is that like your office?
Dining room. No, it's an office.
This is our family room, but it is now my office. So it is just like that. Like everything is just, you know, all different.
Yeah, exactly. And how has that been for you in terms of working from home? Because you got some titles, and you got 2 titles. So that means you got 4 jobs professionally. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So NiSource is a utility, so a gas and electric utility in the Midwest. So we have got 6 states, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Kentucky. I think I said Kentucky already. But anyway, so we have
say it twice.
That's right. So we have 6 states. Maryland was the last place. And my job, basically, I've got all of the call centers. I've got the, you know, the billing department, the meter readers, the revenue recovery team, the new business team. I've got the marketing and marketing research arm. I've got the e-channels organization and all of our, you know, digital assets. And I've also really got like the transformation arm. So those really are all the different parts of my organization. It's about 950 folks or so. So it's really fantastic, a lot of the work that we're doing on the customer side. But but it has been a challenge. I actually just got promoted in the middle of the pandemic, and ordinarily I would go out and physically meet these people. And I've had to do it all via, WebEx and Zoom. And so that's been difficult, but it's worked. And I will say, Dr. Pamela, I think the future of work is going to change.
And how so?
I think people are going to start to, I don't foresee a time when anybody will go back into the office and need to be in the office 5 days a week. I really don't.
Yeah.
I think, we right now are looking at the future of change, and we have different tranches. Some people are going to be remote. Some people are going to be mobile. A few people, right? Like if you are installing electrical wires, clearly you can't do that from your family room. But I think that there are certain roles that you won't need to physically be in the office anymore. So it'll just be very interesting.
Yeah, it will be for sure. And the surprising thing, and you probably didn't know this, but I have been remote for around just over 20 years.
Yeah, and so you enjoy it, right? And you find that you're just as productive.
I've always loved it. Many years ago, I used to work for Lucent Technologies, and that's what we were all about back then. And so, I had the home office set up, and I would go in because I was living in the Bay Area at the time, and with the traffic patterns and everything, it just worked better for me to have those days where I worked remotely. And so everything about even starting up my business was around how do I, remain remote? Because I never saw going into an office 5 days a week, and I never did do that.
Well, and I would say so. We can talk about that in terms of work-life balance, because I think people, not just moms, but I think men too are finding that they like the balance of being able to work, but also be home and spend time with their kids. And I don't know, it's almost as if this pandemic has made sort of a shift of what people expect.
Yeah.
And what they expect out of work.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you've talked, a great deal in terms of the kind of support that you have, to be able to do all of those great things that you do. What do you do in terms of self-care? Because, that's so important, and maybe not something you can always, do with your kids. And so what do you do about that? How do you fit that in?
Yeah. So I'm glad you asked that. So, so I do yoga. I'm actually a pretty avid Peloton yoga, mom, I guess. So I try to do that like 5 days a week. So that's on the physical side. And spiritually, I'm pretty active in my church. I sing in the choir, and I spend time
praying.
I do. And I'm,
oh my goodness. Can you write a song right now?
No. No, I won't do that.
Write a song about it?
No, I don't do songwriting. That's Ariel, but I do sing. And then just on a personal side, I spend time like with my girl. So I'm in a book club. I spend time like, with some of my girlfriends. And then just like personally, like, don't laugh at me, but the thing that I love doing, like my favorite activity in the world is shopping. And I miss. So, I like, seriously, like, I love it so much. Like, I have 2 girlfriends once a year, sometimes twice a year, but once a year, we would either fly to New York or LA and book into a hotel and just go shopping. And not like shopping. We would go to like the warehouse district or vintage stores. And so we would be like, like, get like one of those little warehouse cards and go shopping like that. So it's that, like, it's those kinds of, fun activities that I try to, do for like things that are just for me. Cause, I realized again, exactly what my grandma said, don't start up anything that you can't keep up. And I have seen when relationships and marriages are only focused on the mom doing all of the giving and not taking time for herself, and it just ends up, it's not sustainable. So, and then I also like self-care. I get my hair done, try to go get my hair done. I get my nails done every 2 weeks. So I just try to do things that make me feel good about me. And I do also, do a lot of other, activities that care for other people, but I do try to, it's important to take care of yourself and make yourself, because you can't, what's that expression? You need to put your own life vest on, your own,
put your mask on first.
Thank you. You need to put your mask on first before you help anybody else. So that's.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know this is a work day for you, and it's probably not too many times at work where you've been able to talk about being a mom, but how does being a mom show up at work for you, especially in your role?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fallacy that people think that when you're a woman, you stop, when you're a woman and you come to work, especially if you have a big important title, that you stop being a mom, right? I mean, something like 70% of women who are in senior positions, are indeed mothers, right? And so it's a part, I mean, being a mom is part of the human condition. And so we shouldn't, I feel like it's stupid to try to assume, oh, a woman can only become senior if she's not, whatever. So I actually, I let my team know when I've got, like when I did college visits, right? I took off the week, but I told everybody I'm going to be gone this week because I'm going to college visits with my kids. And people were like, oh, so I try to let people know the mom activities that I am doing to a certain extent, right? Like I try to let them know, oh, I'm going to Williams track meet, or I'm doing this, especially so more junior women can feel like it's okay. And not only junior women, junior men. I mean, to be honest, men want to participate in their kids' life and upbringing. So I just try to integrate it into the person that I am. Now but if I'm perfectly honest though, I try to do it. It's hard because when you're at the I can do that now that I'm a senior level. When you're mid-level management, some good advice I got from somebody was you don't have to tell somebody every time you're going to your kids, play performance at school or this or that. He was like, just do it. He said, just say that you're unavailable, book the time, let people know that you're unavailable. He said, but like he said, the way you're doing it now, you're making it like, oh, I'm so sorry. I've got Halloween at my kid's school, or, oh, I'm so sorry. I've got to go to Little League, or, oh, I'm so sorry. He was like, don't make apologies for it. He was like, I coach my kids' Little League team. He said, nobody knows. I just leave, I just make it. So literally he told this to me. He was like, I just arrange my schedule. My admin knows. He was like, but I just arrange my schedule so I can leave work during that period in the summer that I need at 3:45, and I just do it. And hearing that gave me a lot of freedom to be able to start to do that. But now that I'm at a senior level, I do want people to know so they can feel like it's okay. Like I'm not. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like that.
Oh, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. Now, this is kind of a different question, but what do you do in the way of mentoring and bringing along other junior women into the ranks at your company? Because I know there's a corporate ladder. And so how do you nurture those women?
Yeah, so I am actually really involved in that, and I mentor a number of women. I am also, though, I am the executive sponsor for two employee resource groups. One employee resource group is LEAD, which is the African American ERG, and the other employee research group is WINUP, which stands for, it's basically the International Women's Organization. And it's not only within NiSource, it's actually across Northwest Indiana.
So is that for all energy companies, or?
It's for all utility companies.
Okay.
So it's utility companies. And so I sponsor them for WINUP. But then I also, though, do try to, I'm on the board of the Girl Scouts and, things like that. But for a mentorship standpoint, I do specifically develop mentor relationships with a wide variety of women. Some women I think are really high potential, and I think I'm going to be able to promote them into director and vice president roles. And so I've done that proactively when I've seen talent. Some women, though, just come to me and say, I'm interested in, having a get to know you with you, and I'm interested in you being my mentor. Would you do that? And I try to do that as well.
Yeah.
I separately am also started last year in the middle of the pandemic with a group of other ladies, an organization called the Talent Collective. And we are just a group of women, and we're a whole bunch of, we're from a variety of different industries, energy, healthcare, fashion, legal, publishing, but we just try to have interesting conversations where we sort of power up women. And most of the women in there are senior, are executives, like, you know, vice president or, you know, whatever. But we just try to have sort of interesting conversations. The last session that I had, though, was around diversity, equity, inclusion, but we've had them around not working in nonprofit. We've had them around volunteering for nonprofits and why more women should do that. So we just, you know, so those are I'm trying to develop those kinds of relationships with women.
Right.
And then trying to pull some of those women along. I would say, though, it is sometimes hard because not every, you develop relationships with women and then not all women want to have that kinds of relationship or want to hear the feedback that you want to share.
Right.
So then you just sort of say, okay, and then you move on.
Yeah, I get that. Exactly. So we're almost at our time to do our rapid wisdom questions.
Okay.
I love these. And so just 3 questions. So the first one is, what's a book that's informed the way you see being a mom?
Ooh. Oh my goodness. Dr. Pamela, I don't know. I am right now I am reading, well, I'll tell you this. Right now I am reading The Midnight Library by Matt Haig.
Oh,
and what I'm enjoying the most, well, thumbnail sketch, it's about actually a young lady who's in her 30s. She actually is feeling kind of rootless in terms of her life, and actually tries to commit suicide. And then she goes into this place called the Midnight Library, and she basically gets to pull different books from the library and try on different versions of her life.
Wow.
And it's been really insightful to me because it just shows how different choices you can make will have different outcomes. And so I've been thinking about that as a mom, like, you know, hey, if I had parented my child differently, or if my child had made different decisions, would their life outcome be different? So I've been thinking about that. Now, that I'm not saying that's just what came to my mind the most because I'm reading it now.
Yeah, but no, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It's just the idea that like, and it gets to something that I know that you say as you counsel children, that where you end up in life, or what your life is going to be, is not dictated necessarily by where you go to college, or, you know, it's not the only thing that leads into it, that there are lots of different options going forward. And so I think about that as I think about being a mom and how I've been a mom, and have I provided, like, I think a lot, have I provided my kids with all of the options that they need in order to help prepare them in the world? And has it also provided them with, you know, will they have different choices later on?
Yeah. Now, what advice would you give? This is not one of the rapid questions. What advice would you give to those younger moms with younger children?
I would say, one, don't sweat it as much. Because I know that again, when I was younger, you feel like, oh, if I don't get them into this right school, or if I don't get them into this right program, or if I don't do this, it's gonna, they're not gonna be set up for success. So that's sort of one thing. And the other thing is, like, trying to pressure them, or trying to pressure, influence, whatever, make them do something. And I've realized, the longer I have kids, and they're teenagers now, you really have to allow them to find their own path and what is right for them. You can present them with lots of different opportunities. You can say, and there are some things that you can sort of say, hey, in our house, we do this, right? So you know, let's be clear that this is not a democracy in the Montague household, right? We have a few things, like, if you live in our house, you are required. Yes, that's right. If you live in our house, you are required to go to church with us. That is a you know, one part of democracy. Our other sort of non-negotiable is that you are required to play a musical instrument until you're 18.
Yeah.
So both my kids did piano, but outside of that, I kind of let them, you know, make different choices. And but I had to get into the point where I was okay with that, realizing that okay, where they land is going to be what happens for them, and it's going to be okay. And I had to get to the point where I trusted, okay, you know what? God's got them.
Yes.
I can try to direct it as much as I can, but I really don't have control.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the second question is, in 3 words, the truth about work-life balance is what?
Oh, the truth about work-life balance is, let's see, get good help. I don't know. Or rely on other people. I mean, it's or don't do it alone. Those are more than 3 words, but basically, like, it's just. I mean, the truth is that you can have work-life balance, but you can't try to just do it all by yourself, and you can't try to do it in just your little nuclear family. It's just not. It's not possible. I don't know how. I see women try, and they all seem unhappy, or their marriages seem unhappy, or they're, it's just yeah. So I was like, get good help. Don't do it on your own.
Yeah, I hear you. That's good though. Now, the last one is, if you had a do-over as a mom, what would it be? If you could have a do-over.
My daughter, when she was in the 8th grade, told us that she wanted to go to a different high school.
Yeah.
And the high school that she went to, or that my son goes to, is like one of the best in the country, one of the best in the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm committed to you staying here, but if you want to look at other schools, then go ahead and you do the research for the open houses and all that sort of stuff. And if you do the research, then I'll take you. And she didn't do the research, so I let it go. But now in retrospect, she did fabulously academically, or fabulous.
Right.
She did well academically, and it resulted in a good result. But I think that her happiness and her emotional well-being would have been better if she had gone to a different high school. So I wish I would have probed more on that instead of, I didn't put up roadblocks, but I didn't help her. I didn't say, like, I was like, this is a high school I went to. It's really good. You should be fine. And if you're not fine, then you do all the work. And I really wish I would have been more, I think she would have been happier had she gone to Jones or Walter Payton as opposed to Lab.
Yeah. Wow. I wish I had asked that question first, because we could have a great conversation about that, because I know I feel the same way. And I think it's something with our daughters, as far as, just them having the emotional support while they're in school, because I think oftentimes, Black girls, don't get all of what they need in their school environments. And so that's just...
They don't get validated in the way that they need.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
William is fine. William seems fine and happy, but Ariel, that would be my one do-over if I'd had to do it. Is that?
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to come back another time so we can talk about our girls.
Okay.
Yes. Well,
absolutely. I would love that.
So very much.
Thank you, Dr.
I really appreciate you. I do.
And I appreciate you. You know that. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So thank you very, very much, everyone, for joining us today. I just appreciate you being a part of the show, and just want to share with you that if you have a college-bound teen, I am going to drop in the comments the college-bound survival toolkit, so that you can make it easier on yourself as you support your teen's educational journey. I thank you so much again, and look forward to seeing you next week. Talk to you later.